Like some more people are coming online here, so we'll give it a couple more minutes and then we'll get going. Okay, well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening from wherever you're tuning in from. I'm going to go ahead and start on time. It is 10:15. My name is Keith Osborne. I am currently the ergonomist for Seattle City Light. Previous to my assignment here at Seattle City Light, I worked for a defense contractor in Colorado Springs in safety, health, and wellness, as well as building an ergonomics and wellness process there. And then prior to that, I spent about 25 years in the United States Army serving my country. So that's my adult career in a nutshell. And so what I want to talk about today with you all is working from home and how you can integrate your process to take in that aspect of ergonomics and meld it into the rest of your process in hopefully a semi-seamless way. Again, working from home. The current process, what we want to talk about, we also want to talk about work from home and how COVID has impacted that and how it may continue to impact it going forward, and what our process is all about at Seattle City Light. So Seattle City Light is the utility for the city of Seattle. It's been there since 1905. Our headquarters and where I work out of, or when I'm not working remotely, is in downtown Seattle. We've got some other locations, which is our Skagit project, the Boundary Dam project, multiple substations, and two major service centers at the north and south ends of the city. We employ roughly 1,800 employees. That tends to go up a little bit in the summertime when we get high school and college interns. 800 office workers roughly, and about 1,000 non-office workers, our utility guys, our field workers. So our current process is really a multifaceted process. We take into account virtually every aspect of ergonomics, office and field ergonomics. The office ergonomics obviously is kind of self-explanatory. Field ergonomics is a little bit more diverse because you have outside influences, the environment. It tends to rain a couple days out of the year in Seattle, so you have to take that into account. Our industrial and shops ergonomics is basically exactly what that says. We have metal shops, carpentry shops, and other various shops that we do a lot of our own building of certain things that it keeps us from having to buy things off the shelf. We can just build it ourselves and deploy it. And then we also have a vehicle ergonomics program that we run through our fleets department. Our process has been in place, the current process has been in place since October of 2014. At that time, we developed a standard, an ergonomic standard, and we continue to evolve and improve that standard as we go. But since 2014, since that date, we've been able to proactively mitigate over $70 million in risk. We've had a 50% reduction in injuries and worker comp costs. And we've seen a major increase in productivity in multiple areas that are really diving in and benefiting and wanting to benefit from the ergonomic process. So let's talk about work from home, because that's really the big buzz thing right now due to COVID. We started back in 2019 with a trial home pilot program of working from home. A certain percentage of our workers, depending on what department you worked in, were allowed to flex some time and work from home. Our ergonomics process had already kind of developed a small work from home section within the larger process itself. And so we were already there with some sort of a process that addressed work from home scenarios. Um, we had some small sample data that showed an increase in productivity in a lot of the groups, and this may impact the decision going forward. We are looking to transition back into the office starting in September, and by January of 2022, the current idea is to have everybody back in the office in 2022. However, with the data showing a lot of productivity for folks working from home, that may influence whether or not certain departments, certain groups, certain people are going to be allowed to continue to work from home. It kind of goes without saying that if you're productive, there's really not a need for you to come back into the office. There's pros and cons for all that, I would imagine. So COVID impacted that trial, obviously, because it was going to continue through 2020 and 2021 until a firm decision was going to be made on whether or not we are going to have people working from home permanently. So about 80% of our office workforce has stayed home, and that's a lot. So there was an increased need for ergonomic process help to address those workers who are working from home primarily. So the process was integrated, like I said, and it was written into the current process seamlessly. The same system for the office workers. It's basically you complete an online risk survey. A one-on-one is done remotely with videos and photos. Recommendations based on the evaluation and the discussion with the employee are done, and those corrective actions or potential corrective actions and recommendations are sent to their organizational units. As with any of the office workers who are working at a city-wide office, right now the organizational units are paying for that equipment. There is some discussion, and there's been a lot of discussion in some of the other sessions I've heard here today and also yesterday about stipends, and that is being discussed at a city level. So that decision will be done at a city level and then impact every city entity. Hopefully, we'll hear from that soon. A lot of our employees are allowed to take their equipment home. In fact, if they want to take an office chair that they've already been fitted for, if they have a sit-stand station, they can actually take that home. They take their computer home. Anything that's taken home equipment-wise, they simply have to tell their supervisor, who has to keep a running tally of who has what where. And that way, when people do transition back in the office, all that equipment does come back with them. We have other resources available for our folks. We have an approved ergonomics equipment list. It's kind of a short listing of proven items that we've used over the years and that I've used with some success with our ergonomics process. The ergonomist can approve the items outside the list, but there's got to be a discussion, and it's got to be a piece of equipment or an item that has some proven track record of success and something that does work. And it also fits the employee. If they're looking for something just because somebody else has it, then that discussion has to be made about whether or not that's the piece of equipment that's going to be best for you to keep you at a lower mitigation of risk. So all those discussions do come about if we do have something that's not on our short list. We have a couple of listings from vendors that have provided some discounts, 10 to 15% discounts for our employees, which is really nice. All the items that are on those vendor lists are ergonomically approved items, so we're not going to have something that's on the list that I don't think is going to benefit our employees. If there is something on that list, then that kind of gets removed, and we just keep a shorter list from the vendors. But the vendors have been really good about doing those kinds of things, and it's much appreciated. It kind of helped us flesh out other lists and other things that we can provide for our employees who are working from home. We also developed a bunch of videos. I shot a bunch of videos, and what it did, it just showed different locations for where you can work in your home and how you may be able to adjust those things ergonomically, either with improvised items like boxes and things of that nature, or purchased ergonomic solutions. So you saw both of those variabilities. So that way you can pick from. If you didn't want to have to go buy something, then that was fine. But if you rather wanted the ergonomic solution, then that was cool too. Then we went ahead and just did the assessments. We went ahead and sent the recommendations in. The equipment was purchased, and then it was sent to the employee's home. There's also a home office safety training module that we set up, and that's been sent out. It's also posted on our internal ergonomics webpage. It's about fire safety, slip, trip, fall identifications and solutions, cord management, all those things that I wouldn't say take for granted, but employees do take for granted when they come into a formal office. That stuff's already there. Fire extinguishers are there, first aid kits are there, AED kits are there. There are exits, in case of fire, in case of earthquake, those kinds of things. So this home safety training module addresses all those things, but from a home environment, so that way our employees can stay safe at home. A lot of times when we're working from home or we are at home, we kind of don't look at those things as intensely as we do if we come into an office. And this was just a way to kind of trigger that in somebody's head, to look for these things and make sure that everything's good to go. Wellness tips. We talked about maintaining a routine. It's important to not get out of a routine. We've had a lot of discussions here about how some work from home workers tend to sit more. They tend to be a little bit more sedentary. They don't move as much. And that's probably true. If I took a straw poll of our workers, I would say that might be more of the case as well. So we try to encourage micro breaks. We try to encourage staying in a routine. If you used to walk to work when you came into the office at the City of Seattle, we encourage you to go take a walk before you start your workday at home. If you took a walk in the middle of the day while you were at the work, we encourage you to do that as well. Micro breaks, stretching tips, those kinds of things. And we encourage hydration and nutrition. You tend to be a little bit more focused on that water bottle when you have it at your office desk. When you're at home, maybe not so much. Maybe I'm home, I'm more relaxed. I'm not doing those kinds of things that I need to do. But hydration is important, nutrition is important. If you feel that fade at the end, the middle of the day, the afternoon, or something like that, then this is a nice indicator to tell you to, hey, you need to hydrate. You need to get up and move. Did you skip lunch? Did you not eat a good lunch? Did you eat something that maybe was a little bit unhealthy? So we try to give those tips out too as part of our wellness tips process. Future editions, we're going to start here, I would hopefully say in the next month or two, with a desktop break reminder and exercise enhancement. Many of you, I'm sure, are aware of a company called RSI Guard. So that's who we're going to bring on board to help us along with that. Again, I mentioned before the stipend for work from home employees, that's in the works. And, we are a city entity. Our stakeholders are not only the City of Seattle, but the City Council and the mayor and everything else. So we have to go through all that. And so it can kind of be a bit of an elongated process to try to get things approved. Some additional information, there's a permanent workforce size could be significant. It could be up to 45% if we go down that road. We may or may not. It's looking like we're probably not, but a lot of folks who are working from home are hopeful. And the work from home process will continue to evolve to meet those challenges. It doesn't matter what road or what decision is made. That process will stay in place in case we have to go back into it full up. We'll already have that infrastructure in place. So I did go through a lot of these slides kind of quick, but I kind of wanted to leave more time for questions than anything else. COVID really has taught us about being prepared for the unexpected. As I've always used to say, because of the military, I always have a plan B, and COVID has taught us to have that plan B. And that plan B happens to be a work from home process that helps workers who can't come to the office, who don't want to come to the office, whatever that case may be, have that plan in place. Our ability to, I don't want to say we were kind of like Nostradamus and really knew what was going to happen before it happened, because we didn't. But we were just simply doing a work from home pilot. But that work from home pilot in 2019 already laid the groundwork for us to be able to be a little bit more flexible and maybe be a little bit more ahead of the game than some other organizations who maybe hadn't had anybody work from home at all previously. A lot of the big tech companies had already had a lot of people working from home. That was already a flexibility thing, and that was always one of the things that attracted workers to those types of organizations. Oh, I can work from home. I don't have to commute in. I don't have to be on a highway for an hour just to get to my office, those kinds of things. And I think other organizations are starting to see the benefits of that, especially when you look at the productivity numbers. And you can look at your workers being just as productive, if not more productive, working from home than they would be in an office. So that's something to always consider as well. An established, robust ergonomics process always allows you to not have to reinvent the wheel. You just simply tweak that process. You continuously improve on that process that's already in place. So that way you have the flexibility to dive in to any kind of a scenario and already have, both your feet on the ground. You just got to get them pointed in the right direction. Um, I know there's probably a lot of time left in our session here, or a couple of minutes. Actually, we got 15 minutes, which is a long time. So if there are any questions, please feel free to ask them, put them in the Q&A or the chat, and I'd be more than happy to answer those for you. And as I said before, here are my contact information. So if you want to email me after this session, if you would like to talk a little bit more about this process or the rest of the process that we have at Seattle City Light, and how we've been able to mitigate the amount of risk that we've been able to mitigate in the few years that's been in place, feel free to reach out, give me a holler. More than happy to share anything that I do and anything that we've done at Seattle City Light to help our workers be a little bit safer while they're at work.